Did Doria Raglan expose Meghan's lie that she is 43% Nigerian? Well, that's what we want to find out. Now, the first problem that I have noticed with this kind of claim that Meghan said, well, yeah, definitely, we're 43% Nigerian. Yeah, definitely, no doubt about that. You have to believe because I said so. Is that Doria Raglan, she was born in 1956, 7 years before Nigeria was formed in 1963. Pretty sure Meghan cannot claim to be Nigerian, low IQ racial victimhood. Well, obviously this is so true because 1956 is the year Doria Raglan was born and 1963 Nigeria was formed. Now Nigeria, the whole country, this whole ethnicity is so diverse, it is so complicated that it is impossible almost, after I have done my research, it is almost impossible to pinpoint that you are from Nigeria, because Nigeria is a West African country and there are a lot of countries there. So Meghan Markle, when she claimed that she is Nigerian and pinpointed at that exact location that was not even formed until 1963, is something we really cannot really say, put our finger on and say, yeah, exactly. This is where you were born, this is where you are from, because again, this is so much more complicated. I will explain to you in a second more about this. But before I move on, just to remind you, most of my viewers are not subscribed. Consider subscribing to my channel because I might actually give you a candy. Now, there is another thing you have to understand. Meghan Markle claiming that she is all of a sudden become 43% Nigerian is that 67 years Doria's age, right? 67, 68. And Meghan Markle is 42. Some people say that she is 47 or 50 years old. Forget about the age, but it is definitely a long time, 67, 42, for them to really come out and say all of a sudden that, yeah, we have done our DNA test and this and that. I mean, she did not do anything. Meghan Markle did not do a genealogy test at all. But for their whole life, none of them spoke about their ethnicity, where they came from, is something very, very strange, very, very bizarre. That all of a sudden, Prince Harry, during the Invictus Game event, he came out and he said, yeah, you know what, she is 43% Nigerian. Doesn't make much of a sense. Doria is 67 and Megzilla is 42, but they are never discussed ethnicity until last year. Really, Doria was paraded around town before the Invictus Games. Harry is still the veterans. Megzilla has just found out she has got Nigerian blood and supports Nigeria. Unpleasant. It really plays well with the race card that they already are playing, because again, all of a sudden you're saying Nigerian when we know why you're saying this, which is that you want to peddle this lie more that somehow you're a victim of racism just because of your ethnicity, just because you're from an African country. We know the truth. Now obviously Meghan Small, she wrote, Doria Raglan did not know anything about Nigeria since she is not Nigerian. Megzilla is a pathological liar. I mean, this is so true, because if you talk about the Nigerian people themselves, they will say, this is not something coming from me, listen to this, they will say that we find out, most of us, not some of us, most of us, we find out our ancestry right after we have this maturity to understand the world. We need to find out. That's what we do. Most of us, we go for a DNA test. But of course, they did not do it until after, Megzilla got married to Prince Harry in the British monarchy, and then all of a sudden they go for Invictus Game, and then, yeah, voila, I am a Nigerian. So this is what I was talking about. So this is coming from an African person on the X. She basically said, many, if not most, African Americans like Doria, descendant from African slaves from West Africa, with so many coming from present-day Nigeria. That's why when most do ancestry DNA tests, plenty times, they do not need to have to go to Nigeria. They can just find it on the DNA. So again, when they do DNA tests, most of them they want to do, they like to do, they want to know where are they from, right? But in the case of Megzilla, it was just matter of time, in the matter of right time, I should say, when it will be very, very convenient for her to come out and claim such thing, which will obviously going to help with her lies. And this is why we see what we have seen from Meghan Markle. And I mean, a lot of people, they lived in Nigeria, and they have a lot of Nigerian in America, in every part of the world. And one thing we all know for sure, including the culture that I'm from, the brown people, the Asian people, we love our family members. When we go for a wedding, when we marry, when our relatives marry, it is the custom, it's a culture that the rest of the family members will go there. But what we have seen with Megzilla is totally different. There was really nobody there from her family. So what kind of culture they are from? Like, are they really from Nigeria? This is why it raises more doubts. So one person, Rev, she said, I have lived in Nigeria. I know how much Nigerians value family. If genetics don't lie, how come Doria Ragland was the only relative at her wedding? I saw a whole lot of celebrities, but family? I mean, yeah, they don't mind inviting Serena Williams, Oprah Winfrey. They don't mind inviting everybody from Hollywood, Bollywood, everywhere. But they have problem inviting one person from Nigeria. So, I mean, that was the best time for her, Megzilla, to really come out and say, yeah, I have done my DNA test. Now I'm going to be marrying Harry. So I know I'm Nigerian, so I'm going to be bringing all my relatives. I'm so excited, right? This is how she should have been. That, yeah, this is the time I have found out where I'm from. So I need my relatives at my wedding. They must come. They must support me and give me, their blessing and all that. But we did not see that happening at all. Just one person came at all. No, just one person. How can this be so convenient for Meghan Markle to do so? Well, this is very, very convenient, of course. Meghan, then she claimed that she's also Maltese. 48% Nigerian. Meghan is not ethnicity. Nigeria has 300. So this is what I was talking about. Nigeria has 371 ethnic groups speaking 500 different languages. Doria is biracial. Megzilla claimed to be Maltese and got a free first-class trip to Malta with a personal guide. But her great-grandmother, Mary Bird, was Irish. Again, throwing more into the confusion, right? Yeah, she's Nigerian for sure. And then all of a sudden, now great-grandfather, they're from Ireland. And another thing that I also want to notice, that these people, and her family members, they were toiling at a cotton plantation, which is deep south of Africa. So if Nigeria is West Africa, and they were working in South Africa, deep in the south, not South Africa, deep in the south, then obviously doesn't make sense that she will be from Nigeria. And I mean, what is even more interesting is that she is pinpointing, I'm 43% Nigerian. Really, all of a sudden, you're coming up with that. So there are now reports that basically said that Doria Ragland is now exposing Meghan's lies. Well, I don't believe this story because, Doria is never going to speak against Meghan Markle, especially in public. But what I do believe is that Doria indirectly told us the truth, which is that she did not go to Nigeria this time when Meghan visited Nigeria. So by not going to Nigeria, she gave us this hint that, look, my daughter is a liar. She's going there. I'm Nigerian. She doesn't even bother taking me there. Yeah, you guys better be careful. Don't fool yourself. She will come up with her porkies or lies. You do not believe her. Obviously, that's not what she wants us to believe, but you get my point, right? This is how we know the truth. This is how they scam or try to scam us. 43% Nigerian and all that. So yeah, Doria Ragland indirectly told us, and according to this report, they're saying that no, Doria Ragland, she did say that, she did expose Meghan. I don't believe that story. So people, as I was talking about, the toiling at the cotton plantations, take a look at Doria's ancestors were slaves who toiled on the cotton plantations of the deep south. You are welcome, dummies. So people are not Nigerian, and they gave her this whole chart where her forefather came from. And again, it is, to say the least, it is very, very hard, if not impossible, to pinpoint and say this is exactly the place I'm from, because again, Nigeria is a very multi, ethnic, cultural group, country that has a lot of different languages and whatnot. It was formed later on in 1963, I think, the year I mentioned. So again, to say the least, this is my conclusion. This is my final word about this whole thing. to say the least, I can claim, or I do believe now, after doing my research and looking at all of these tweets and what people are claiming about Meghan and Doria, which is that it is impossible for anybody to claim that from this particular region after 42 years for Meghan Markle and 67 years after for Doria Raglan. So after so many years, it is, to me, nothing but a facade, and they're trying to create more publicity by calling themselves Nigerian, because they are now, look, they got free trip to Nigeria, so it really helps their pocket.